So I suppose it's a broadcast in our video. Yes, here it says broadcast is live. So let me start today. So first of all, welcome for our first GP Junior Connect in Florida, United States. So nice to have you here this morning, or maybe afternoon if you're seeing us from Portugal, for example. So I'm quite happy for being here. My name is Gabriel Caldas. I work at GP Junior, and it's a non-profit organization that tries to deal and connect networks of professionals and young students. So we are going to be talking a little bit about these networks today and showing to you a little bit of our opportunities we have for young people during these times of crisis and how we can boost the youth entrepreneurship by both these networks here today. And I invite guests from Florida. So I'd like to introduce all of you before I start presenting the webinar. So first of all, Ed Pasowitz. Hello, Ed. Can you hear us?
Yep, I hear you loud and clear.
That's great. That's great. Ed works at PMI South Florida, and he's going to be speaking a little bit about the network, as well as Carola. Hello, Carola. Can you hear me? Can you hear us?
Hi. Yes, I can see. I can hear you.
Hi. And as well as Julia and Isabella are here. They are Brazilian students, but they live in South Florida currently because of their studies, and they founded the first junior enterprise in Florida. And we're going to understand a little bit more about what is a junior enterprise during this presentation. And let's go ahead. Luis, could you please share, I will be sharing my screen in order to introduce you a little bit to GP Junior before we start the content of today, right? So let me just share my screen here. Okay, I suppose it's sharing. That's great. So GP Junior, as I said to you, is a non-profit founded by ex-junior entrepreneurs. We are going to understand a little bit more about what is a junior enterprise very soon, but as Isabella and Julia are going to introduce. But in a nutshell, for those who, in few words, it's an organization of students in order to help people who need their services. Engineering students are going to make some engineering services. If you're a law student, you're going to offer some law service for unity for a low price so that people can have access to this kind of service and you can learn by practice. But during this journey, Felipe, our founder, noticed that there was a kind of gap of skills. They need to know more about the project management. And in this situation, he joined the PMI, which is the biggest organization of professional project managers in the world, who is also present here, represented by Ed and Carola. And in this organization, he could make a lot of network, learn a lot of skills. And he noticed that, wow, many junior entrepreneurs should be knowing that when they were students. So he created GP Junior in order to connect both the networks. And that's basically what we're doing here today. We started our in 2015, and in 2018, it was our first international edition. In 2020, we were planning to make many insight events, but then the coronavirus came, and we had to adapt to the crisis, as well as we're going to learn a little bit here today about how we can do that. But anyway, let's go ahead. And this is our first event in Florida. And basically, it's our values. We want to reciprocate everything we learned in the junior enterprise movement, because all of you have been part of this movement. We want to share what we learned in PMI, and we want to connect both the networks. In a nutshell, this is a kind of our indicators. Now we have 6 countries impacted since we're doing this event here in Florida, and 1 more city and more students. I hope all of you are going to like our event today as well. These are some of our projects. The majority of them are presential, so we could not hold them in this year. But we are having the GP Junior Connect. It's a kind of webinar that then generally takes 1 hour or 1 hour and a half on the place. So we have many other activities with NGOs, with students, with high school students, with companies, and so on. So these are some of our partners from PMI. As you see, PMI is around the world representing the profession of project management. And very soon, we hope we have the logo of PMI South Florida, as well as the Hexa Consulting, which is the junior enterprise from Florida, but we have already working with many others in Brazil and abroad. So in a nutshell, sorry, it's not loading very soon. We have also some articles published in very well promoted magazines. Like 500,000 people were able to see these articles about the junior enterprise movement in Brazil and Tunisia and so on. So in a nutshell, this is what GP Junior is. We are quite happy for being here. This is our contact if you want to contact us in the future. But after this kind of introduction, without further ado, I'd like to introduce Ed. And I mean, Julia and Isabella, because we talked a lot about what is a junior entrepreneur to me, and they do understand the situation in South Florida and the United States. So very welcome, Julia and Isabella, and it's with you.
Hi, good morning, everyone. So as Gabriel was saying, my name is Isabella. I'm from Hexa.
Hello.
Hi, can you guys hear me? Okay. Okay, so as I said, I'm Isabella. I'm from Brazil. I currently study at the University of South Florida in the Tampa Bay area. And my majors are international studies and economics. And in Hexa, I'm the president.
Yeah. Now, my name is Julia. And just as Isabella was saying, I'm also from Brazil. And I study at USF in Tampa Bay as well. I actually study international studies and sociology, so I'm double majoring. And at Hexa, I'm the vice president, and I'm really glad to be here with you guys to present a little bit more about Hexa Consulting and also learn about what we can do during this time of crisis. Isabella, you can take it away and talk a little bit more about Hexa.
Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen with you guys. Yes. Can you guys see my screen?
Not yet.
Can you guys see it? Hello? Okay, yeah, you can see it. All right, so first of all, I just wanted to say that to explain a little bit of how we met Gabriel and GP Junior. To talk about that, we have to understand a little bit more about what the junior enterprise movement is. The junior enterprise movement is a movement that started in France in 1967, and it went to Brazil in 1989, and it became very, very famous. So many universities across the country have junior enterprises, which is basically a student-run consulting firm with the goal of enabling students to have hands-on experience before they graduate. In 2012, it came here to the States, and in 2016, the Junior Enterprise USA chapter was founded, and Hexa Consulting is part of the Junior Enterprise USA, and it was through them that we met GP Junior, and that's why we're here today making this great event. So a little bit more about Hexa. So what makes it unique is that we do exactly what the junior enterprise movement is all about. We unite theory and practice and create this hands-on learning experience for students. And not only that, but we help our surrounding community with cost-free services. So maybe there are startups or small businesses or even people who want to start a business and they don't know how to. We're here to help them. We usually help people around the Tampa Bay area, and it's been very great, this job that we've been trying to do. Our firm serves the areas of engineering, marketing, and finance. And so what we do is we talk to these companies, these small businesses, and we make a project with them in order to help them.
Awesome. I can take it off from Isabella and talk a little bit more about HEXA specifically. At HEXA, we expect our members to uphold certain values to guarantee efficiency in project completion. And some of the 6 values that we have are pride and passion, hard work, excellence, integrity, loyalty, and diversity. These are just things that we expect all of our members and employees to come with, and also to help our clients the best way we can. Because of that, our mission is to promote hands-on experience to students through consulting projects while enhancing their professional skills and consequently developing the surrounding community. But by 2025, we envision to be the reference student-led consulting organization in the United States. That's where we want to get. And now, like talking a little bit more specifically about the services that we provide in each area, we work with engineering, finance, and marketing, as Isabella was saying. Right now, we're really focusing on our marketing skills and services. So we have been providing website development, digital marketing, and social media development. But also, we are able to provide services within the areas of engineering and finance. Some examples that we have are mapping processes, chemical analysis, or in the area of finance, something like budgeting, forecasting, or investment allocation. This is the little presentation that we had for you guys about HEXA, but we had some of our QR codes for you guys. I feel like the presentation is not showing right now, but I'm gonna share my screen real quick with you guys so you can see the QR codes. Let me see if I can do that right now. Can you guys see me? Okay, awesome. Okay, it's working now. But you see the QR codes, correct? Right there, we have our email and our LinkedIn page, but also our Instagram and website. So if you want to just learn more or talk to us, if you're thinking about opening a JE and you need some tips, just talk to us. Or if you know that there's somebody around Tampa Bay that needs help with their business development, just let us know and we can reach out to you guys. Thank you so much. So that's what we had. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. So now I'd like you add in Carola to introduce a little bit the PMI and what is the project management profession to the students who are watching us today, and how they can get involved with the activities held by PMI.
Thanks so much, Gabriel. I appreciate the introduction. Folks, my name is Ed Pasowitz, as was said earlier. I am the VP of Education for the South Florida chapter of PMI. And I'm here to tell you a little bit about what the organization is all about, and then a little bit about myself and how I ended up here, and a little bit about South Florida chapter. With me today is Carola Johnson. Walker. She is the person in my organization that a volunteer, basically who handles the scholarship programs and such. So she'll talk a little bit about that. So if we can go ahead with the presentation. Thank you very much. Okay, so the Project Management Institute is the world's leading not-for-profit professional membership association for the project, program, and portfolio management profession. Founded in 1969, PMI delivers value for 3 million professionals working in nearly every country of the world through global advocacy, collaboration, education, and research. PMI advances careers, improves organizational success, and further matures the profession of project management through its global recognized standards, certifications, researches, tools, academic research, publications, professional development courses, and networking opportunities. From humble beginnings around a dining room table, we have grown into a truly global technology or a global enterprise. You'll see here the breakdown of the membership of the chapter globally, over 600,000 members, over 1.5 certifications, 214 different countries, 300 chapters, 1,400 volunteers. That accounts for approximately over 100 global organizations. Today, we are servicing the world through PMI chapters. As I said, PMI is the largest project management membership organization in the world, and we have grown considerably over the years. PMI has over 300 chartered parts of the organization in chapters around the world and led by PMI volunteers. A volunteer organization as opposed to one that is paid. I do not have a paid position, neither does Corolla. And the idea is that getting the membership to actually volunteer, it becomes much more of a significant organization because people understand what it is that they're doing and how they're doing it. PMI offices and locations support members and volunteers throughout the world. This is a global organization, as you can see here, US, Singapore, Dubai, Brussels, Latin America, with and professionally staffed chapters, partners, and administrators throughout those particular offices. It truly is an interesting thing, and what we're starting to concentrate on is what we call the project economy. Here's a little piece on the project economy so that we can talk on the other side.
50 years ago, when PMI was founded, project management wasn't a thing yet. But thanks to a fearless group of visionaries and passionate project leaders like you, project management is now a global profession. Every day, everywhere, we transform ideas into reality. But the world of work is changing fast, really fast. So is our profession, and so is PMI. We are expanding our focus, broadening the stories we tell and the roles we play, from start to finish, from inputs to outcomes, from frameworks to whatever works. With your help, we are building a world where people have the skills and capabilities they need to deliver value, no matter what project they're working on. It's a world where organizations deliver value to stakeholders through successful completion of projects, delivery of products, and alignment to value streams. We call this world the project economy. And at PMI, we power the project economy, strengthening society by enabling organizations and empowering people to turn ideas into reality. As we look ahead to our next 50 years, what role will you play?
Ahead is a paradigm, taking ourselves away from organizational structure that we've had in the past, where basically they're defined by skill, to defining a group as a project and a project as it is. In fact, if you think about it, we've always been in a project economy. Although we didn't quite identify it that way, we certainly were. A project, by definition, and this is the PMI definition, is a temporary endeavor to undertaken to create a unique result. It has a beginning, it has an end, and it has that unique result. So if you think about it, that is really what a lot of these different things have had and done over the years. As we see it, project economy is one in which the individuals have the right skills and mindset to turn ideas into reality. No matter what the type of initiative they are working on, where organization makers understand how to staff teams with the right skills to deliver value and drive structural success and outcomes. In the PMI, we empower the project economy, strengthening society by enabling organizations to empower its people to make ideas into a reality. Indeed, the world is becoming more projectized as far as this economy is concerned. In fact, at PMI Global Conference, we unveiled special celebration of the major role that projects have had on the world. Thousands of projects were considered in this effort. The ones that emerged met some high standards. Did they defy expectations? Did they transform an industry or our culture in ways that we still feel today? Try to imagine a world without access to mobile phones. Imagine that we never mobilized to find a cure for polio. Imagine no offshore wind farms, no desalination plants, no Sydney Opera House. All of these were projects that brought to fruition and changed our culture. So At this group, they brought out what were the 50 major projects that actually influenced our culture and our world. Here's a little ditty on that piece. Pretty impressive stuff. So let's talk a little bit more about what that all means. At PMI, we have long advocated that all change in organizations occurs through projects. And we increasingly see the paradigm shift taking place, as I said, from skilled areas to projectized type work. The paradigm shift taking place. We have long seen some sectors organized around projects. Think of some of the large consulting firms like professional service firms, or think about the movie industry in Hollywood or Bollywood, where talent goes from one project to another. That's already there. But today, it's becoming even wider range of organizations evolving to this model. That's why project management was identified by McKinsey as a skill expected to continue growing in importance, along with related skills like critical thinking, creativity, and leadership. You can see here a couple of quotes from different organizations. Accenture, for example, 79% of executives agree the future of work will be based more specific to projects than roles. Deloitte, across industry organizations that embrace, nurture, and cultivate enduring human capabilities through their workforce will likely have a strategic advantage. And of course, McKinsey, project management is a higher cognitive skill likely to rise in importance through time. So how can we help power your career through this new project economy that we're talking about? So PMI basically has several certifications that are considered global standards. The two that I'm going to talk about today are the Certified Associate in Project Management, which is specifically for students who are trying to get into project management as a career, and then the PMP, the Project Management Professional, which is quite honestly the bellwether for project management going forward. So before I go very far into this, I want to make a real big distinction, because a lot of people have come to me over the last year and said that they have an industry-specific certification that they apply, and what's the difference between the PMP and these industry-specific ones, for example, in electricity or in implementing and putting in plumbing, for example. So the difference is between PMI and other organizations is that PMI is industry agnostic. It offers project management standards that work across industries, healthcare, like the Human Genome Project, to engineering, like Apollo missions. PMI standards are throughout all industries and are used throughout the world in those industries. So that's really the difference if somebody comes to you and asks. So the CAPM, the Certified Associate in Project Management certificate, it basically demonstrates and shows that you have a distinction in the job market to enhance your credibility and effectiveness working on or with project teams. It basically says that you are committed to doing those particular activities, and it recognized your standards and your knowledge on these global standards. It's basically getting your foot in the door, if you will. And then, of course, we have the PMP, which is the Certified Project Management Professional. Recognize competency of an individual to perform in the role of project management, specifically experience in leading and directing projects. It's very cool. Globally recognized. It is accredited against the ISO 17024 standard, which is a global standard, of course, transferred across countries and industries, as I said previously. Rigorous market-driven development process, professional growth framework, and increased credibility. There's over 1 million, as I've said, of PMP holders throughout the world, and they consistently always look to better the standard. For example, we have a brand new test that's coming out on July 1st that has enhanced focus on people, process, and business environments, as well as the different types of project management. For example, I'm sure that you've probably heard the waterfall as opposed to the agile. All standards are actually baked into the PMP certification. Just for grins and giggles, as my brother used to say, I went out on the web and I went ahead and did a South Florida look for how many companies are actually looking for certifications that are project management. I did a search first on LinkedIn, and this is something you can do yourselves. And I basically put in essentially looking for the PMP in the Miami-Dade area. And you can see here that I came up with over 1,979 jobs where people were actually looking for the PMP in this particular area. Also, I did Indeed.com, found out that in this particular case, there were 53 pages of job opportunities that were looking for PMP. Now, mind you, I didn't put a specific industry, I just put PMP. So industry knowledge would definitely be appropriate and help you in those endeavors. And then PMP jobs on Glassdoor, 243 jobs were actually listed. So you can see that just that certification in and of itself puts you in the running for those opportunities. Of course, as I said, work actually has a lot to do with that as well. So one of the things that PMI does is we basically fund and assist researchers to advance the project management, portfolio management, and those types of fields in those certifications. So what you'll see here, we have academic research available, funding for new academic research in project, portfolio, and program management. We also provide venues for these researchers to present ideas, discover and discuss new research, opportunities to exchange ideas with scholars and advanced practitioners, people who really understand that, people who are managing, for example, huge projects like, you know, the Apollo mission or something to that effect, as well as folks who are just trying to get their specific project done in their particular area. You can see at the bottom of the screen here, thought leadership. These are the different areas that we actually deal with from a project management perspective. So just like a lot of other industries where you start becoming much more advanced, you pick a specific area. This is the same sort of thing from a project management perspective. And quite honestly, I really, really, really liked this specific quote from PMI.org. In a business world of constant change and disruption, project, program, and portfolio management are the bridges that connect strategy and ideas to implementation and successful outcomes. I think that that says it all right there. So scholarship, grants, and awards. Corolla, if you could go ahead and bring in your 2 cents as far as this is concerned. Okay, I'll go ahead and I'll go ahead with this. From a scholarship and academic perspective, there are several awarding features that we have. For example, you can see here the PMIEF James International Paper of the Year Award. That is for a researcher or a developer to bring that up to the specifics of an organization. Receivers of those win a $500 cash. I I went ahead and did a little bit more research on things that were actually available from a PMI perspective for scholarships. This is for folks who are actually in school, who find project management and feel like they want to go into that industry. What kind of academic scholarships, what kind of things can you get from PMI to actually advance your education in those areas? And you can see here that not only is it academic scholarships, but bachelor's, master's, and even doctoral scholarships are available. Applications for UMT associate scholarships as well. So specifically, which ones are those? So you can see here we have the Cadence Management Corporation Scholarship for pre-selected educators for nonprofits and NGOs. Eric Jennett Professional Development Scholarship Fund is also available. The PMI WDC George Patton Memorial Scholarship Program, and the Judy Hardiman Memorial Professional Development Scholarship, and so on, and so on, and so on, and so on, and so on. You can see here that there are a huge number of available scholarships. In total,
Ed,
yes,
if I could interject for a minute, I'm sorry, I lost internet. But I just wanted to say that PMIEF was started by the Project Management Institute 30 years ago for advancement to fund research and also scholarship opportunities. I'm so sorry, everyone. I am a direct recipient of more than one scholarships. And what Ed, I don't know if he said it, but the great thing about these many different scholarships is not that they just apply to project management practitioners, but they apply to students and persons who work in nonprofits like GP Junior. And in that regard, it allows for advancement in project management and also skill development for many individuals, not just in the United States and Canada, but also around the world. So many of the scholarships you see listed there are not only industry specific, but they also encompass online associate's, master's, and doctoral degree programs, including professional development. So when I got my first scholarship, I was actually located in the Bahamas as an educator, had no idea about project management, stumbled upon PMIEF, and that is how I got the CAP-M, which is the first scholarship that Ed told you about. I mean, the first certification that he told you about. That got my foot wet, and I was able to start off as a junior project manager, and my life just changed ever since that day. And now I'm a PMP certification holder. So it doesn't matter where you are. Once you check out that website, www.pmief.org, you'll be able to look at all of the different scholarships. There are just so many. And if you apply for some of the academic scholarships, what I love about the website is that they would also include you in other scholarships that you may apply for. Something else that's also very unique is that they don't just offer one scholarship once a year. Many of them offer an opportunity for you to apply 4 times each year or more. And the scholarships ranges from about $500 to up to $28,000. And like I said, online and on-site professional degree programs and academic scholarships. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's why I wanted Corolla to talk about it. She is somebody who truly understands the scholarship programs inside out and backwards and forwards. So global learning and asset tools. What is available through the PMI as far as what kind of tools are we talking about? Because I keep talking about how you have all of this available, this education and items and things of that nature. So I just want to go over a couple of them for you here today. First of all, most exciting thing is that we now provide the PMP and the CAP-M tests online. So it can be done completely online. This allows for social distancing and the coronavirus and all that kind of stuff. It used to be that you would have to go to a specific place because it is a very major test. This is like going and getting your master's thesis kind of stuff. This is a big test, and they want to make sure that nobody can cheat because they want to keep the performance very, very high. So they now have it, though, that you don't have to go to a specific place for the test. You can actually do it online. That's a big change and update. A couple other tools that they actually have. PM Edge is a tool that provides project managers, especially those just starting out their careers, with interactive content, videos, materials that allow to tackle new subject areas at your own pace. You can see here also we have Projectified with PMI, which is a podcast, a lively forum looking at series of conversations about hot topics and emerging trends impacting the world of project managers, from digital transformation to artificial intelligence to career development. Each podcast episode includes insights and perspectives from senior and rising project managers, business leaders in Fortune 500 companies, and startups alike. Best-selling authors, top researchers in the field, and leading-edge thinkers. All Projectified episodes are available for free download. We have the Navigator, available at no charge now, something that they'll probably charge for later on because it is something that is very valuable and helpful in guiding careers. Navigator serves as a portal to PMI, a career development platform for project professionals. The platform offers opportunities for comprehensive self-assessment of skills, interests, and goals while offering an action plan to achieve your objectives. It actually helps you guide your career as you're going forward in project management.
Ed, if I can interject on the Navigator, I just started using it a few weeks ago, and it's personalized. It's really a unique tool, and I would advise you students to check it out. The website is listed at the top, navigator.pmi.org, but it gives you a strategic outline on the project management certifications or tools that you would probably use that would best help you to advance your career. So it's all free. It's free right now, and it'll be best for you to check it out and get your feet wet, get it started. And it also allows you to register for free professional development seminars. I think I've taken about 3 so far, and they're very good. They help you build skills, very clear and concise. They start off with basic project management. I think I even took a course in agile project management. So I'm just advising you guys to take a look at it. Thank you, Ed.
Thanks a lot, Corolla. So another thing to take a look at is access to the Virtual Student Summit. Students are invited to join this free for sessions covering user experiences and artificial intelligence, career trajectories, and rising leaders in the project management field, as well as networking and collaborative opportunities for emerging professionals. Also, we have these, which is your PMBOK, which is the standard for project management. PMBOK meaning Project Management Book of Knowledge. And it is essentially the guidepost, if you will, for everything that we do from a project management perspective. It consists of all those standards that I've been talking about that are industry agnostic and can be used essentially throughout the world. For members of PMI, this is a free for download. If you want to get a hard copy, that is something that needs to be purchased. Or you can also do that through the coursework that you actually take. It's part of that cost as well. But that's for the PMP. And last but certainly not least is the projectmanagement.com website, which has articles, webinars, templates, tools, new practitioners, resources, and PM Wars. My understanding is, and I haven't done it yet, but the PM Wars is supposed to be where project management teams can basically virtually compete through each other, through classroom types of exercises to see who comes out on top as far as that's concerned. So all of this cool stuff, what's available and how do you become this member and how does that actually take place? So the student membership is quite reasonable in the fact that student membership for PMI is $32. That does include the PMP BOK guide, the certification discounts as well. Free webinars, events, tools, technology, templates, global networking, all of that stuff for just the $32 a year. which is very, very cool in a lot of ways. And it helps advance, as I said, your career, regardless of where you're going to end up. Because if you really think about it, a electrical engineer is going to participate in projects. So this types of activities and this kind of background and having these types of skills will still benefit you, even if you're in electrical engineering, if you're in civil engineering. That's a major projects. If you're in the medical field, doing any kind of research or any kind of stuff on that side, it would still be appropriate. I mean, even if you're talking about putting a bill together in Congress, you still have a project, and that's still skills that would be valuable down the road. The student chapter membership is renewed extension, and you have that $32 per year as you are a student, but even the year after you graduate, you can still continue your certificate or your membership for that $32, which is a very, very good thing indeed.
One thing here, Ed, sorry again. I utilized the student membership when I was doing my master's degree in project management. The tools and templates that feature, along with the Pembroke guide, were the most useful. They also have an aspect of on the website where you can look for and apply for jobs, kind of like a LinkedIn for project management, so to speak. So becoming a student member is very beneficial, and you guys should check it out.
Thank you. So another thing that you have with the student membership, as you can see here, it says in the first one is certification discounts. You can actually do a bundle with the CAPM that we were just talking about, the certified associate, and the membership for $257. You're saying, well, that's $257. Yes, but if you were to take the CAPM without the membership, it would be $300. So that's where you have the benefit of actually being a member, and having that association will give you some benefits down the line. So let me talk a little bit about the South Florida chapter. That's what we're all about. As I said earlier, the volunteers basically organize themselves into chapters throughout the world. The South Florida one services all of South Florida. You can see here, we've broken it down for Broward County, Miami-Dade, and Palm Beach. You can see Broward has the largest number of people who are actually signed up as members. You can see on the left-hand side the actual breakdown of where members are in the different counties, specifically in Florida. One thing I found really interesting when I started doing this is that South Florida, being an international hub as it is, has an awful lot of members that represent many countries throughout the world. You can see here everything from Argentina and Aruba all the way to Uruguay, Turks and Caicos, which is South America. But Kuwait, Italy, Israel, many different people throughout the world. It's also very cool because as you start to get to know these people and the volunteers that actually come at it, you're talking about a lot of different cultural types of folks who you can actually learn from just in a social aspect as well. So what kind of things from a South Florida perspective, what makes it different than what we're talking about on a national basis? There's more opportunity for us to get together socially and such. A big thing that we participate in is our networking events. PMI South Florida has events and happy hours with corporate partners that happen pretty much every month. Obviously, because of coronavirus, we have been doing weekly webinars to inform and keep our organization alive and keep the folks challenged with networking opportunities and such. And we will continue doing that. Think tanks, where we have forums of corporate leaders are invited to on a specific topic to basically talk about what it is that they're doing, not only on the skills of technology, project management, agile, and so on and so forth, but also specifically to cultural things that are happening, like artificial intelligence. One of the big ones is Facebook, and how do you use social networking tools and such. Those types of things. Other community forums, as I was talking about, we have a school outreach program where we are literally having specific networking events at different schools. We have met and started one at Florida International University, hopefully going to do the South Florida University as well. The folks that are on this call right now, we were in having events at your campuses so that we can actually have those types of outreach. We also have things like military outreach, and we had a wonderful Women's Day not too long ago that was very highly sought after, and it had a lot of benefits coming afterwards. Executive breakfast. This is a really big deal. And it may not seem that way, but because of the fact that PMPs and PMI is such a standard in South Florida, we really get to a situation where a lot of industry and corporate heads know who we are and participate. You will sit down at a networking event with the CIO of JM Lexus or the CIO of Southern Glacier Wine and Spirits, and the PMO heads of these organizations all participate with our group. And it's much different meeting these folks at a networking event or at a dinner meeting where you can actually speak with them, not as a person on the street or in an interview type situation, but literally as a peer, as somebody who is taking advantage of the project management industry and what it is that we actually participate on. So that's actually a lot of fun, and it's very interesting. And one of the things I thought was really interesting also is dinner meetings. The food is really, really very good. I don't know how they actually find it, but the food is really outrageous. It's very, very good.
You're correct, Ed. I just want to interject here. I just came from the Bahamas 11 months ago. I think about 3 months in, I attended my first networking session with South Florida chapter. I met a number of CEOs, I would say, and a very nice young lady who actually brought me on to volunteering at PMI South Florida. Very warm culture, very open. The networking sessions are not just about networking, but I think they helped with, that session was more about resume development and tools and tips, and it was just amazing. So becoming a chapter member adds that extra onto the certification process, and that basically so that you would get yourself introduced to a lot of people. I mean, we go on LinkedIn and use a lot of sites trying to connect with industry professionals and HR managers and people who've been in the field for a long time. And what I found at the networking meetings and sessions is that they're there, they're open, they're warm, and it's like a family, a big family. So just wanted to say that.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for saying that. So generally, I just wanted to put out there a little bit about myself. I started out as an application developer back when Fortran was actually the .NET or C++ or any of these things that the folks in school are using today. From there, I moved into management, moved into analysis, business analysis, and so on, and then found myself managing teams, essentially developers, analysts, all working towards projects and things on that order. Made it up to a CIO level not too long ago, a few years ago. And after all that time, I didn't really feel like I was giving my all. I didn't feel like I was really participating and really bringing things to fruition. It was kind of like I'd bring it to a certain point, and then I'd hand it off to somebody else to do it. Right about that time, I went back and actually started looking at this project management career and benefits. So I went and I got myself a PMP. I had already done the projects, and I realized that everything I have been doing has been projects. Really, when you think about it, as a developer, analyst, all those types of things, you're working on projects. That's what it's all about. When I did that and I actually went and got my PMP, I found literally within the first couple months, my confidence level had changed internally, but also in my work. And I started taking on PMP actual jobs and opportunities, and found myself making actually better money in the long term, but also much more, I felt much better about the work I was doing because I was bringing things to fruition. And quite honestly, from that point, I've never looked back. It's been very helpful from a project management perspective. I know what I'm doing. I know where I'm going. And I'm finding much more of a rewarding piece in my career because of this change that has actually taken place. So that's really all that I had for you guys today. I did want to basically thank you for participating today. And an interesting thing that our CEO, Sunil, talks about from a perspective of what he works on. He said that he went to a PMI conference. All the professionals were basically sitting in groups by themselves. The Kenyans basically sitting with their group, the Tanzanians sitting with their group, and so on and so forth. But what he found was really interesting was as soon as the music started playing, everybody left their particular country tables and started dancing on the dance floor all together. And he kind of saw that as being what PMI was all about, in looking at and bringing to the forefront these types of groups coming together, dancing to actually bring to fruition the projects and what they're actually trying to do. So that's really all I had today. I don't know if anybody had any questions or anything of a follow-up nature. Gabriel?
Hello?
Yes, we hear you.
I'm sorry if it's a delay. My internet got a problem here, so it's not very stable. But I'd like to ask a little more about as students, our tools in order to develop themselves as professional and personally. Meanwhile, they are in social isolation. How they can improve their skills and how they can make the best of their time at home.
So I would definitely go back to most of those tools that we had actually given you and spoke about. All of those
Navigator
tools,
being one, Ed, Navigator, PMIEF.org for scholarships and opportunities. I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me? Hello? Hello?
We can hear you.
Yes,
Oh, okay.
you do.
Yeah, sorry. PMI.org. You can go on the website. You don't have to join initially to log in and get a username and password. You could surf the website out, check out all of the opportunities that they're available. In addition to that, PMI South Florida has weekly professional development opportunities that you can take advantage of. Because of this pandemic that's occurring, most of the weekly, I would say at least one of the weekly professional development seminars is free for members and non-members. So you could use this time to get your feet wet in that regard. So you have Navigator, PMI.org, PMIEF.org. Those are the ones that I know off the bat. I think Ed was supposed to check out some more. Ed? I guess he's not on. Hello?
Yes, but also, for example, if I'm a guy who, for example, I'm part of a junior enterprise and everything, all the activities in my club or my social institution in the university are not going well because I'm at home. So what kind of project tools do you suggest us to use? For example, would be a Scrum, would be a Kanban, would be an Agile management, and what exactly are these terms means and how I can make use in order to improve my projects meanwhile I'm at home.
Okay, so each of those different project methodologies you're talking about apply to different fields and different situations. I would say if they don't know what they're about, if they just know the names or the terminologies, maybe checking out the PMI.org website and doing some research, watching a few videos on what they're about, and looking at the tools and techniques that are there. Because in addition to the PMBOK guide and the Agile guide that Ed talked about, that's free on the PMI.org website, there's a lot of different articles and literature research that they can check out that will help them to, I guess, understand the different types of methodologies and choose the best one that suits them. Each project is unique. Each area is unique. And in most instances, well, all projects are customizable. You can't just say this is going to work for all projects or that is going to work. Every time you approach a new project, every procedure from initiation to completion is different. The tools and techniques that are out there that PMI offer to us are available for us to customize, but there's no set way of approaching any project. I think Ed could speak a little bit more on that because he has a little bit more experience there.
It's the white beard, right? That kind of gave it away. Yes, it really well put. I think what you have to look at is, as we've been saying the whole time, is that PMI offers the standards, right? Those can all be modified and are modified for specifics in any particular project. As well as I said earlier, any industry. As the industry changes, the needs of documentation for that industry are going to be different depending on the size of your team. If you have a really large team, you're going to go more towards waterfall type or that type of really solid understanding. If it's a very small team, an agile approach is much better to use. Again, these are the standards, and it really is something that changes depending on the project. It also depends on the industry, and it depends on the project team. So there's lots of different ways. The cool thing about it is, though, as the project manager, as the person who heads it up, you are the one who is tasked with making sure that everybody gets along, that everybody is reaching those same goals. And it's very rewarding at the end because you can walk into the room and you can look at that particular widget that you created, or the iPad that you helped develop, or the skyscraper that is now being used by business offices around the world. And that is something that you are tasked with bringing to fruition, which is quite honestly very rewarding. I hope that answers your question.
I actually had a question as well. Can I ask my question, Gabriel? Because like right now at Hexa, we have a few projects going on. We have about 3 projects going on. And sometimes it's hard to get everybody motivated and, kind of like walking in the same direction when it comes to kind of like, delivering the project and the expectations to those clients. So my question basically is like, what can you do to kind of like bring that impulse and like make everybody feel the same way about a project and feel motivated enough to work together to get to that result? Maybe Carola or Ed can answer. You kind of like touched on that, Ed, but if you could just talk a little bit more about that, about what we can do.
Carola, if you don't mind, I'll go first on this one. What you're referring to, Julia, is you're referring to the soft skills, right? I think project manager, quite honestly, in a lot of ways, it almost has kind of a connotation of a checklist, right? You need to make sure your BRD, your business requirements document is done, check. You need to make sure that your testing plan is done, check. All of those types of things. But the fact of the matter is there is a little bit of a difference between project manager and a project leader, right? A leader is one that can actually get teams to work together, even though they don't like each other, even though they have, political issues between them. A project leader is the one who gets them to communicate and understand and to aspire to completing the goal that the team is supposed to be putting together. So there is a distinction there. My suggestion would be there is an awful lot of soft skill education and opportunities for research and understanding that is out there. Many different books. And quite honestly, I go on LinkedIn and I almost get a headache because there's so many people who are spouting off how they are leaders and how they can actually get you to become a leader and so on and so forth. But quite honestly, it's something that's inside. It takes work and it takes experience. You're not going to do that coming out of the box. I highly suggest that certified associate in project management is a really nice way to get your foot in the door and to start understanding what it is from a soft skills perspective to be able to be that kind of a leader and being that project leader as opposed to the project manager. That'll get you foot in the door, and the sooner you start getting the experience, the better. Because then, as you start to mature in your knowledge and in your area, you will get the confidence that it takes in order to drive that project and actually show them where they're going and have them all going to the same world. And to also understand how each individual on the team works, because you may have one person who is much better at sitting alone in a corner just doing what they need to do, and you have the other person who always speaks up and takes part, not the entire thing, but you need to be able to get everybody to participate and get everybody to work towards those particular ends. So from my perspective, that's something that you can do some study on, but only experience will give you over time. Carola?
Yes, Ed, I agree with you on that. I've worked with, as an educator, we had projects in our classroom, and I was a middle school teacher. And I also worked with construction professionals. And like Ed said, it takes experience and the development of soft skills with the confidence. So I will agree with you there.
Anything else?
Yeah, thank you so much. You answered very well, and we're going to start using that at Hexa. Thank you.
And you could reach out to us as well. I think Ed's our email address is there on our website for PMI South Florida education team. We'll be happy to answer any questions and start to communicate with you guys. So just reach out to us.
Yeah, I want to emphasize that as well. Basically, PMI.org, PMI.org. That's where you start. Get into there and you can find us. We are South Florida PMI.org. But essentially, if you have that, you can pretty much find everything else that you're looking for and everything we've talked about today, and so much more. Gabriel?
Before we end the call, I'd like to ask a question for Julia and Isabella, who are also here representing a very strong network. Actually, the Junior Enterprise Movement is the biggest one of youth entrepreneurship around the world. And I'd like to ask them about how are the things going? What kind of difference and what adaptations did you have to make in your Junior Enterprise in order to adapt yourselves to the coronavirus issue, as well as in other causes you participate in? How are things going? How are you adapting yourselves? How is your experience there? And how do you think it's like contributing to your...
So I think I heard all of your question, but let me see if I can give it a shot. I believe you were asking how did the careers and everything change with coronavirus, and how does that actually change everything that happens? Well, it really is specific to the company that you happen to be working with or for. In my case, I was working with Southern Glacier Wine and Spirits. They immediately allowed and insisted that all project managers and developers and everybody else work from home online. And that was really convenient, and it was pretty easy for us to make that switch. I had already set up my office in the house, so we were good as far as that was concerned. So it really depends on the companies that you're working with and what's available for you on that. From a networking perspective and that type of capability, to be honest with you, I think the Zoom happy hour is probably one of the biggest changes that we are going to have in our professional life going forward, because you have such an opportunity to get into, I mean, for goodness, you are looking at my house, my office, and in a happy hour situation, in a networking situation, you have that kind of personality and that personal touch that you wouldn't necessarily get, and we didn't have previously. So I think that that's probably the biggest thing, is really just taking all of those techniques and those networking type events and everything else that we had, and learning how to do it online as well. And I say learning because we're not done. One of the things I had actually talked to my education team, Corolla being one of them, was that we're going to have to find a way to increase the networking capability and things that we're doing. For example, in our school outreach. It used to be that our school outreach would be going to campus and having a networking event and so on. Now it's going to be much more of a Zoom type situation where we're going to be trying to get online and getting the group together. Further, I think that going forward, even when we get the all clear and we can do our networking on site and so on, we're going to have to maintain some segment or capability of doing both, that remote type communication as well as the on-site. So for example, I know that our PMC, which is the big conference that we do every year, this year is going to be pretty much remote. We understand that. But going forward, I think we're going to have both an on-site where people can actually communicate and be on-site together, but also have it online as well. So I think that that's going to become the standard going forward. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, so I just wanted to step in also and talk a little bit about Hexa. As you were asking, Gabriel, about how we're dealing with this right now. Fortunately, we do have all of these technological tools and everything, so we weren't as affected, I would say, because we are able to do all of our meetings online and everything. So that's good. Obviously, losing the social contact is bad. And from a project perspective, nowadays everything that we have to do with our clients is through technology. So this was a little bit impacted because when we're trying to get clients and when we're doing a project, they're still getting to know us. They're putting their business in our hands. So it's good to have a meeting like in person so they can get to know us and really have this kind of social contact that makes them trust us. So we lose a little bit of that. We try to get a little bit of that back by having, for example, Google Hangouts and talking to them via Skype or whatever platform we choose, just so we can still see them and they see us and they get to know us. And so this is something that we're trying to do. So yeah, this is what we have been doing now in Hexa. Julia, do you want to add to something?
I mean, I agree with everything that you just said. It's just a little bit harder trying to have that connection with clients. But we have been able to communicate with them pretty well. And we just tell them our expectations. And I mean, we have our contract and everything. And we also have milestones. And even like among the groups that are working together, it's a little bit harder because we have to establish those expectations. I mean, from like a project manager perspective to, those project members, those people who are working in that project, it can get a little bit hard because, and it also relates to the question I made, because right now it's just, because we're not together, we're not able to kind of like sit down and work on, one task all at the same time. Each person makes their own schedule. So it can get a little bit hard, but we are managing and we are able to kind of like adapt to the new situation. And everything's going pretty well at Hexa, but we're doing our best.
I don't know if Gabriel is here. Is Gabriel there?
I think he left the chat. Just okay. He's there. Yeah.
Hello everyone. Sorry, I got a bit bad connection, so I just returned. And I'd like to understand projects that you held in Extra Consulting. What kind of clients you are looking after for your course, and also how do you think that the social distancing is actually shaping the way you sell your products and how you look for professionals, how you look for partnership in university, and what kind of suggestions the guys from PMI give in order to them to look for more partnerships and more associations with other organizations to improve their results.
So the way that is shaping us is that we have to adapt to this new way of working. Well, everybody has to do that now. From our perspective, because Hexa is very new, we are still establishing who we are. And so doing this online sometimes can be a little bit tricky, but we managed to do that. With regards to the clients that we're looking for, it's really anyone who needs help. Anyone who wants help in the areas of engineering, marketing, and finance can come to us, and we will be happy to set up a meeting and build a project around an issue that you have. So this is what we do. If you guys want to talk about, how to set up a meeting and everything, we have our social media and all, and you can definitely send us a message or an email or whatever it is. With regards to networking, we definitely do a lot of networking nowadays through LinkedIn. Before we would go to an event and meet people and talk about Hexa and our idea, or we would even go to professors and tell them about the work that we were doing, and the professors would recommend us to some other people. So nowadays we have to go through, especially LinkedIn, we have had messages through there. And so it's really just kind of finding these ways of doing things nowadays that we wouldn't do it before. Sometimes we can find people, I don't know, through Instagram or Facebook. And yeah, so we've been trying to adapt and get all the tools that we have that we would usually use daily and bring it to Hexa.
I also want to say at PMI South Florida, we were initially looking at outreach opportunities with many universities here in South Florida, and then the pandemic came, and we were scrambling. Well, I won't say we were scrambling because we don't scramble, but we were just like, so what are we going to do now? And our team just went right in there, and we said, you know what, we're going to just explore the remote way of doing this, which we have started. So hopefully in the next few weeks and months, your universities here in our area would probably be putting on some type of event, a remote virtual event, introducing who we are and what we do, so that you can get further acquainted with PMI and PMI South Florida. In addition to that, I want to tie this in with also the soft skills that Ed spoke about, because when the pandemic happened, a lot of people started wondering, what am I going to do? How am I going to cope? How am I going to cope? Like I said, I just moved here, so I wasn't really, I'm not really working. I just got a job offer 2 weeks ago. So when everything started happening, instead of me putting my head down and feeling like I was completely defeated and what am I going to do, that's when I went out there. I went on every webinar that they were having at PMI South Florida and PMI.org. And I revisited my resume, I revisited my LinkedIn profile, and I started having virtual interviews for job opportunities based on my certifications and qualifications and experience. And I've had a number of job offers since then, simply because I have what they're looking for at this time. And what's great about it is that I'm not only able to work remotely, but in the long run, they're looking at when things start to open up here in South Florida, you're going to have to go in and do the job. So it's important to equip yourselves with the right tools, with the right skills, certifications, and academic background, so that no matter what's happening, you're going to have that confidence, that leadership ability that Ed spoke about, that's going to give you the edge no matter what's going on. And just want to say thanks.
So that's great. Okay, our time is coming to an end, and I like to say I have no more questions, and I suppose nobody has any more. Oh no, nobody has any other question. So I like to end this call by saying, guys, if you're watching this and you got interested in the junior enterprise movement in your state or United States, please contact Julia and Isabella, because they know all the steps about how hard it is to open a junior enterprise and to lead the project. I also like to thank a lot for Ed and Carola for introducing PMI to the students here in South Florida as well, and around the world, because we have people from other places as well. I'd like to say thank you so much for giving a little bit of your time to introduce PMI, to talk a little more about your business experience, your professional experience. I mean, I'd like to say as well, thanks to Hexa for supporting these ideas. Thanks for PMI South Florida. And I'd like to say to you, all of you, thanks for watching, and I hope that this GP Junior Mission Class will boost the connection between both of you, the young people in South Florida as well as the PMI. And finally, I'd like to say, stay home, get improved, keep safe, keep your health going okay, because our life is our biggest project, and it's also very good for us to manage well this project. So thanks for all of your experience sharing your life. And count on GP Junior. You can follow us on social media. We publish everything in English as well, so we take a look about all the tools we promote there. And finally, yeah, that's all. Have a very nice day. Have a very nice weekend, and stay safe out there.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
And thanks for watching.
you.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.